Hello friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content, although it has been a couple of months since I uploaded, so I guess that welcome back to ReddX is me welcoming myself back. So we're jumping into that old channel favorite, that old rSlash NeckbeardStories, and I am super excited to be doing it. I am on a laptop right now instead of my desktop. My desktop ended up taking a poop. But big shout out to my patrons who have been helping me to put that back together. I should have a new one sometime next month if Santa is kind to me, so fingers crossed for that. In the meantime, I definitely appreciate your Patreon support and your patience while all this got kind of put back together. Regardless, I hope you guys will let me know if you notice any differences in quality, something like that. But overall, I think that this should work nicely. The resolution is a little bit lower, but maybe you won't notice. So without any further ado, I'm sure I'll talk a bit more about it at the end of the video. Let's jump into this thing, get back on that horse, and check out some rSlash NeckbeardStories. Jerry and the chicken porn. Not safe for work. Okay, I'm pretty sure this fits into the neckbird category. If not, I guess I'll move it elsewhere. But I had to get this story out at some point or another because there is no possible way for this kind of shit to come up organically in conversation, and I refuse to take this story to my grave. My first and probably only Reddit post, just to make sure that this did not follow me to the afterlife untold. Possible trigger warnings, slight mention of suicide threats. So anyways, back in high school I was pretty unassuming, but a seriously troubled girl. I struggled with depression and battled suicidal thoughts constantly, so much so that I was actually selected for a program that I will keep the name of secret, but the long story short was that it was for kids whose mental health or learning disabilities made them either a danger to themselves or others in regular classrooms. I was in the former category, but the other students that I encountered were largely the latter, and there were some real violent ones in this batch. Now, there was a whole lot of shit wrong with me, but one thing that my teacher and her two paras could unequivocally agree on was that I was honestly the least disruptive person in the small group of program attendees because all my behavioral issues had to do with myself instead of, for example, authority or other students. So imagine my surprise when one day the teacher waved me down just as we got ready for lunch and split me off while the paras herded the others towards the lunchroom. Miss B was easily the best teacher I could have ever asked for. Super nice, always tried to make the class fun so that we could actually enjoy and engage, and seriously did her best to always make sure that we felt heard. Today was weird though. She looked, well, for lack of a better word, fed right the F up. It's been ages and the conversation's exact details have been lost to time, but it basically went like this. Ms. B, Calf, I need to ask you a question. OP discreetly shoves phone, which I technically wasn't supposed to have, deeper into my hoodie pocket. What's up, B? Miss B, do you know if anyone's been printing anything lately? Well, we were in the middle of a speech project, so it was kind of hard to point to a single face in the classroom that hadn't printed off something in the past few days. I pointed this out, and I distinctly remember that Miss B's eyelid twitched slightly. Miss B, right, I should have been more specific. Well, images, I mean, not articles or speeches. OP, can't imagine. We were supposed to do this assignment without visual aids, right? Miss B, yes. So if you know if anyone's printed any images, OP, maybe I could ask, what were they? I know what all my group speech topics. At this point, Miss B really hesitated. See, a fun little detail is that while our program was meant to help kids with behavioral issues, it had next to no funding, and the printer was older than I was at the time, roughly 16 or 17, This meant that it didn't have a printing history and would often spit out prints out of order and would sometimes wait an hour before actually printing what it was asked to. I heard it act up earlier in the class right as we were getting ready for lunch, but I hadn't thought much of it until it activated again, and Miss B realized way too late that it was spitting out another of the images that she was trying to find the responsibility bearer of. My jaw dropped to the freaking ground. Without hesitation, Mrs. B, of course, snatches it up and feeds it into the paper shredder, whom my class had glued googly eyes to and called the paper monster. But it was too late, and I had seen. Oh, had I seen. So you know how YouTube has all those fun little source filmmaker animations? And for a while they were popular with Five Nights at Freddy's fans? Ah yeah, title relevant. Someone in my class had printed out creepy, humanized, source filmmaker pornography of Five Nights at Freddy characters. What the fuck, right? Mrs. B practically growled in frustration and unplugged the printer and then turned to me. Do you know who might have decided that that was a good idea? Oh, did I know? I knew the instant I recognized Toy Chica. See, there was this guy, let's call him Jerry, name changed for obvious reasons. Jerry was a mostly unassuming kid at first. He was skinny as hell, never went anywhere without his hoodie on, with the hood up. Honestly though, once you got to know him, he was kind of a huge douche. For one, he hated the teacher and her paras, claiming that they had some sort of old woman vendetta against him because he liked certain things. God. He slouched a lot, greasy hair that I rather hated to look at, a patchy stash. He was antisocial, had a lot of anger issues, and trouble with authority, which is what landed him in our program in the first place. And more known to the rest of his fellow students than anything else about him was that he was a Five Nights at Freddy's freak. He'd skulk and scowl all day long until lunchtime ran around. Then he'd snatch one of the laptops from the cart and lurk out in the lunchroom, plug in his headphones, and watch YouTube videos of nothing but Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, the guy was a massive douche, and more than once I'd caught him staring at my friend at the time's ass. Plus, he'd exposed my goddamn eyes to more of Toy Chica than I would have ever wanted to see in this life. And even the next few lifetimes after this one. So no pity from a woman flashed by murderous robot chicken snoo. r/ brand new sentence. So I mentioned that I'd seen old Jerry Boy watching more PG videos, but that it was definitely the same character. I was dismissed to lunch, and when we were eventually corralled back into the classroom, Mrs. B announced without the slightest bit of hesitation that we'd be suspending the speech project for the day, and we'd instead just focus on the study period. I thought that was the end of it, but to my eternal chagrin with Jerry, it was not. My then friend, who we'll call Iris, had a higher tolerance against bullshit than I did, and she was tentative friends with Jerry, despite me warning her that I got weird vibes from him. And it was that night that I woke up at perhaps 1 in the morning to find that Iris was ringing me. I barely managed to garble out a hello in my half-asleep stupor before she wailed like a banshee and asked me what you're supposed to do if someone says they want to commit suicide. As it turns out, Jerry had been bugging her ever since school had ended that, "Oh my god, some bitch in our class ratted me out. I just wanted some pictures because my mom threw out our old printer, and the teachers confiscated my laptop privileges. I swear to God this school wants me to kill myself." And other such and such, peppered with how, "You're the only thing keeping me here, I swear." So that's the secret. Gotta get rid of Iris to get rid of Jerry. Sacrifices must be made. Oof, did I not like that. What Jerry didn't know was that Iris might have been too scared to tell anyone, but I sure as shit wasn't. I told her to tell Miss B and take screenshots of any text as well. The fallout was ridiculous. Miss B immediately insisted that Iris block Jerry's number, moved Iris to the other side of the classroom, and made sure to put some of the tallest students between them so that Jerry wouldn't be making any eye contact whatsoever. His mother was alerted to both the fun little images that he'd printed out and the suicide threats, and he was forbidden to go near Iris without a staff member present. I don't believe he ever found out that I was the one that ratted him out on either of those transgressions, but he wasn't allowed on the laptops without supervision the rest of the time he was there. I graduated out of the program and ended up drifting out of contact with everyone that I'd met there, but the story stuck with me because it just blew my mind that he thought it was a wise idea to print out pictures of Five Nights at Freddy porn, and then he'd also thought it was a similarly brilliant idea to threaten to kill himself just because he couldn't look at them. Side note, seriously, who prints porn? Why not just watch it and move along? Well, OP, let me tell you something about being a growing boy. Sometimes you know very young that you get off to robot chicken vaginas, and you want that close at hand for when the mood strikes. Poor Jerry, man. He's never gonna live that down. I'm surprised it was just the school that seemed to have like the fallout against him. I'm shocked that the other students weren't like constantly making fun of him or something like that, because oh my god, dude, how do you ever live that down? That's just too wild. I know these Five Nights at Freddy's fans, it was big for a while, you know. You couldn't take 2 steps in any direction without running into somebody who was head over heels for that game. I never really got it as a game. It's just like, okay, jump scare simulator, whoopee-doo. But there are people that are like way into the lore. I don't want to go too hard against them because, Lord, they're going to find this video and be like, somebody's talking. Somebody's talking about Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Oh, God. I think the Game Theory channel's biggest videos are all on Five Nights at Freddy's. The fan base is just fervent, so if the comment section devolves, you'll know exactly why. But I ain't into Chica. I can't imagine hanging out with somebody that was. But yeah, you really have no obligation to make like whatever your fetish is known to anybody, so why would you print that out? It's like if somebody printed out pictures of those Japanese girls that puke on each other. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, good. Let's just move on to the next story. Gothbeard, my freshman year roommate. Oh, lucky you. When I first came across this sub, I had quite a few laughs at the stories. But then I realized I have a few neckbeard stories from my own life. This is a long one, but it's a good one, I think. It certainly makes me laugh just recalling it. So I started college back in 2010, and while I don't know if the term neckbeard was a thing at the time, they were certainly around. I played ice hockey growing up, and I was just barely talented enough at it to get a few scholarship offers. Although I was told that when I got to campus I would be rooming with other student athletes, upon receiving my dorm assignment, I'd found out that due to a record enrollment, I would start my college career in a regular dorm. So I move in, and I'm in a quad, myself and 3 other guys. 2 of them seemed normal enough, but one is this tall, very round, pale guy with small oval glasses, dressed in all black with those stereotypical goth poofy parachute pants with spikes and chains on them that could have only been a Hot Topic purchase. I distinctly remember that he also kept a very sparse beard that lined his chin in what seemed to be a half attempt at a bad chin strap style. I figured I'm gonna be living with the guy, and although I could have made some accurate assumption by his initial appearance, I desperately wanted to make friends quickly, so I attempted a conversation. Gothbeard let me know very quickly that he was very private and that I should never go through his things. Although that felt like an odd statement, I agreed, because why would I want to go through his things? The quad had bunk beds, and in the first 5 minutes of our discussion, I noticed that Gothbeard had taken to a lower bunk and was unpacking what looked like shower rings and blackout curtains. In an effort to keep the conversation lighthearted, I asked him about them. He quickly, without hesitation or shame, let me know that he had curtains so that he could watch ported anime privately. I always thought that it was weird that he mentioned both of those. And and that they were also so that he knew that he would be able to bring women back to the room without having to worry about being spied upon. Yeah, that'll happen. I did manage to keep the conversation cordial after that, but like, WTF, right? To say the least. I mentally told myself that I wouldn't have to spend a ton of time in the dorm with him since I would be starting daily conditioning with my team in the next couple of weeks, and I would get to move to another dorm next semester. Anyways, the next few weeks, I didn't have to talk with Gothbeard much. Although he was seemingly always in the room, his curtain was almost always closed. I started to avoid the dorm as much as possible. I noticed the room smelled like unwashed socks. Instead, I started hanging out with some guys down the hall that would leave their room door open all the time, and they would mostly play sports video games like Madden and FIFA. By hanging out in their open room, I quickly met almost the entire dorm floor, including a couple of gorgeous girls. One of them, I'll call her Elle, started coming down to the gamer room pretty frequently just to hang out. One evening, we were playing Madden as usual, and Gothbeard appeared in the open doorway. Despite the fact that I technically lived with him, I hadn't seen him in probably about 4 days. Count your blessings. He said,
I'm disappointed. I was hoping there were some real gamers in here, but I see you all only like to play trash games. Jocks are all the same.
And then he left. We all looked at each other awkwardly, and after I explained that he was my roommate, we had a laugh about it. It also became apparent that Elle wasn't into games. She wanted to hang out with the guys. Over the following days, we realized that we had a mutual interest in each other, and we started dating. The relationship started fast, but hey, we're freshmen, and it was nice to have a girlfriend while trying to navigate the new world that was college life. Anyways, my hockey schedule picked up, and I had less and less time to hang out with my dorm friends or Elle. Gothbeard would audibly grumble at me when I would get out of bed at 6 a.m. to go practice, despite the fact that there wasn't anything I could do to change that. Some weeks I would travel for games, and Gothbeard would make comments about how he could finally
bring a lady or two over.
Though I never saw him with girls. Ever. Yeah, boy. One day, after getting home from an away game, I met up with Elle to watch a movie. I was tired, so I was looking forward to spending some time with her. Her roommate was talking loudly on the phone in their room, so she walked with me to my room. I flicked on the light, and no one seemed to be around. Gothbeard's curtain was closed, so I asked if he was there. No response. This was the first time that my room had been empty, so I took the opportunity to have a little makeout session with Elle on my bed. I pulled off Elle's shirt so she was in just a bra, and we continued. Then, I heard it. A distinct,
ugh, yeah,
muttered from the bunk bed across the room. I turned and looked up to see Gothbeard's curtain pulled back halfway, with him shirtless and his arm making movements back and forth. I'm extremely thankful now that the curtain was only pulled halfway back. Then, without missing a beat, he said something else that I'll never forget.
What are you looking at me for? Keep going.
I threw the covers over Elle, and she put her shirt back on. Then I got out of the bed and said, "What the fuck, man? I asked you if you were here." To which he calmly replied,
I know.
I avoided my own room as much as I could for the rest of the semester. I don't think I had more than one conversation during that time with him. The following semester, I was able to move to an actual student-athlete dorm, and Elle came over most days. If not for Gothbeard, I would have stayed, but that guy was something else. It wasn't far from the original dorm hall. She told me that Gothbeard assumed that by
moving away,
that I had dumped her, and that he had started texting her regularly regarding his affections for her. He even referred to me as an
obviously abusive meathead,
and that she deserves a
gentleman
like himself that would basically worship her and spy on her. He later went on to ask her for nudes. Then he went on an angry text tirade after she turned him down, of course. And then he threw a fit about it in front of her and a bunch of my friends, citing that he had
already seen her in her underwear, so what's the big deal?
I wish I was there to see that one. The last I remember of him, he was whining in a super obviously directed way on social media about how
women don't appreciate or value kind men.
no, dude, she had a boyfriend, you're weird as hell, and you're not kind. I have no idea what Gothbeard is up to these days, but I hope that he was able to straighten himself out a bit. What are you looking at me for? Keep going. Oh, big oof, dude. I mean, you know, maybe if OP was into that, but quite obviously he was not. And Gothbeard's, you know, sneaking around like a creep. Next time he doesn't answer, if you walk in the room and you're like, hey, is anybody in there? And the curtain is closed, just pull that katana that I know he has off the wall and start stabbing it through the curtain just to make sure he's not in there. I'm sure it's got to suck to live with 4 guys. I mean, briefly I lived with 4 guys in a Navy dorm while they were, I think, painting or something in the actual barracks, but God, that was just a hellish experience. I would never go back to that. And doing it for, what is a semester? 2-3 months? No. Big no. I was driven insane after only a week of that. And those dudes were like bros, you know? Real Navy bros. Can't imagine being stuffed into a room with basically 3 complete strangers. And obviously, based on this piece of completely anecdotal evidence, 1 in 4 men, totally a creep. You stay far away from that dude. Maybe it's 1 in 6, since he did meet the gamer bras, sports gamer bra, which isn't really a gamer, but I don't want to sound too much like Gothbeard. I can't be seen agreeing with that guy. But anyways, I definitely hope that you enjoyed the story, and if you did, I hope that you will like, comment, and or subscribe, friends. Check out the links in the description to Twitter, Discord, and of course Patreon. And big shout out to my beautiful patrons. We got Barlos Bugo, Just Austin, Robert Waits, Nathan Crimson Albedo, Lady Nix, Damon Darkstar, Nico the Legend. He dropped, but that's alright. I forgives him. However, if you are one of my patrons still here supporting through this period of inactivity that I've been going through, then I just honestly can't thank you enough. We're officially at 1,000 subs. Monetization has been enabled on the channel, so I'll get to make even a little bit more scratch, and that means concentrating on making more ReddX videos, which should please you guys pretty nicely. And if you'd like to assist directly, of course, that is what the Patreon is for. If you can. If not, no pressure, you know. At the end of the day, I do mostly make it because I enjoy the content, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to get a sweet little something out of it, you know? Make it into a real job or something. Then I'll quit all my writing jobs and just do YouTube full time. The dream. Anyways, friends, my computer should be back up quite soon. I'm thinking sometime in December, hopefully early December. And then I can get back to rendering videos a bit more easily, a bit more quickly. Basically, right now, I have to re-download all these graphics and sound effects and other things that I was using on my videos. It's a relatively easy process, but I had been dreading it. But if you're seeing this video, I did it. Hooray! Anyways, friends, that's about enough from me. I will see you again quite soon. Definitely won't be another 2 months. Dang. Thank you so much for supporting ReddX. 1,000 subs. I can hardly believe it. This channel has grown up so much faster than Dayton has. So it's astonishing to me. And obviously it's a sign that I should keep it going. So I shall. Anyways, I shall see you in the next one, friends. Thank you so much for watching. As always, keep yourself safe out there. Wash your hands. And until then, friends, bye-bye.